I will now call to order the June 23rd, 2026 meeting of Municipal Council. Madam Clerk, for the record of this meeting, please show that Councillor Roy DiClemente and Councillor Susan Leahy are absent with notice. Item B in our agenda is a declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members of council? Please go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. It relates to item H1 on the committee recommendations from the Committee of the Whole on June 2nd. As previously declared in that meeting, so I own a company that owns a heritage property within East Gwillimbury, and CWC 2026-079 is a recommendation to receive a deputation. I previously declared on that, and so for that recommendation, I'll be stepping back.
Thank you very much. Anyone else at this point? I'm not seeing any. We are on item B, C. Land Acknowledgement Statement. The Town of East Gwillimbury recognizes and acknowledges the lands originally used and occupied by the peoples of the first of the Williams Treaties, First Nations, and other Indigenous peoples. And on behalf of Council, I thank them for sharing this land. We also acknowledge the Chippewas of Georgina Island, First Nation, as East Gwillimbury's closest First Nation community, and recognize the unique relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and the waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and we join them in these responsibilities. We're at item D, is deputation this evening. There are no deputations at this time. Item E, we have a presentation, not at this time. Item F, administration, presentation, and report admin 2026-01-2022-2026, term in review. We'll move a little further along. And the administration presentation and report 2022 in review. I will refer to the CAO for opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and it is our pleasure to provide you with a brief presentation and report on what we're calling the term in review, which is really the report card related to the strategic plan approved by Council. I just want to make a couple of comments before I turn it over to Stephanie Cromfley, who has been instrumental in facilitating the process to put this together. This afternoon when we were at CWC, or this morning, we were dealing with the asset management plan, and one of the comments that was made is this a report that's going to be useful to us? Are we going to use it? Is it going to sit on a shelf? How do we know that it's having practical value? And I can tell you from my own experience that sometimes strategic plans fall into that category. It's a task on a checklist. It gets done, it gets put on the shelf, and at the end of the strategic plan period, there's a scrambling to look at it and refamiliarize yourself and see what you did relative to what you were supposed to do. Our process here is quite deliberate. The strategic plan is a document that really outlines the sort of overall high-level objectives of Council for the term. And what we do is we consciously look at that strategic plan every budget period, and it's built into what we call the annual business plan. So it's referenced actively. And from an accountability and reporting point of view, we then provide what we call annual reports, just to kind of make sure that we're on track and that we're sort of ensuring that we're delivering on the objectives that have been set out by council. So this report this evening is a culmination of what's been done through this entire term relative to the strategic plan that was outlined by council. And it's an accountability document because it shows what we've done to deliver. And it's also a really useful reporting document to ensure that the public is made aware of the many things that have been done to deliver high-quality programs and services and make critical investments that are important to residents. And so I want to just, before I turn it over to Stephanie, just express my gratitude and thanks to Stephanie for her leadership in not only the annual business process, but in facilitating the process of putting this summary report together, and extend my appreciation to the entire extended management team that have fed into this. And we look forward to sharing it with you at this point and getting any feedback that you might have. And so with your permission, Madam Mayor, I'll turn it over to Stephanie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Through you, Madam Mayor, good evening, members of council. It's such a pleasure to be here before you today to introduce and present the 2022 to 2026 term in review. The report that's before you today is really a consolidated summary and compilation of the activities that have been undertaken and the work that's been completed over the past 4 years of this term of council through the actions of council and staff and the community. And given that we are approaching the end of this council term, this is really an opportunity for us to reflect on what has been accomplished, the significant work that's been undertaken over the past 4 years to deliver meaningful results for the community. And this report really tells that story. The purpose of this report is first and foremost, as Mark mentioned, something that serves as an accountability measure to provide transparency to members of the public, to residents, with respect to what we've done, how we've done, and documenting our progress and our impact. And it's also an information tool and an educational resource to provide residents with an account of the programs and services and key projects and initiatives that the town delivers in a way that's designed to make local government more understandable and less complex. So while council has received regular updates over the course of the term through individual staff reports and memos and budget presentations and annual reporting activities, there is value in bringing all of that information together into a single resident-focused publication that is easy to understand and digest and is accessible and engaging to residents. So I'm going to go through a brief presentation with you today just to provide some context about the report, why we developed it, how we developed it, and to share a few highlights with you. So if we go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So the term in review is really grounded in the town's strategic planning framework. And this is something that council will be very familiar with, but just for those who have joined us in council chambers today and members of the public who may be watching from home, the strategic planning framework really guides the work that the town undertakes on a multi-year, annual, and day-to-day basis. At the top is council's strategic priorities, which are defined in our strategic plan, and those priorities are used to inform our annual business planning and budget activities and processes, which further extend into our day-to-day work plans. And then at the end of each year, the town produces annual reports to really measure and document the town's performance against the overall strategic plan. And those annual reports complement what's been brought forward today. So the term in review is, in essence, one of the final reports on the town's overall progress towards meeting the strategic priorities and key deliverables identified by council. And so this report really demonstrates how council's decision-making, which is reflected at the top of the framework here, has translated into tangible outcomes for the community over the course of the term. So if we go to the next slide. So everything that we do as a town and as a municipality is really guided by and aligned with the direction and priorities set by council at the beginning of the term through the strategic plan. And at the center of the slide here, you can see the 5 priorities that have been identified in the strategic plan. If you're with us in council chambers, they're reflected in the banners hanging behind me. And the strategic plan has really been designed in such a way that it accounts for the fact that community needs are constantly changing. The municipal landscape and environment that we work in is constantly changing and evolving. And in fact, since the strategic plan was originally adopted, there have been numerous and oftentimes significant and sometimes unforeseen events and developments that have really changed the context in which the town delivers programs and services, and also represents a significant body of work that staff undertake to adapt to these changes. So you'll see a few examples on the slide here. This term we saw new provincial housing targets. We saw a number of legislative and regulatory changes with respect to development charges, planning processes, environmental and conservation authorities, transportation, mounting and subsequently dismantling a speed enforcement program, global trade uncertainty and tariffs that really influenced how we procure as an organization, as well as changing economic and market conditions, which are derived from external factors that are often beyond our control, but have an influence on building activity. Changes to our municipal and regional governance models, new privacy and access requirements, and a number of new developments at the regional and local level. So all to say that since the strategic plan was adopted and over the course of the term, the town has navigated a number of significant changes that have really reshaped how we plan and how we deliver services. So if we go to the next slide. So the term in review presents really the scope of work that the town has undertaken over the past 4 years. And the development of the report and the product itself similarly reflects the efforts and the collaboration of countless staff over the past several months. So we initiated the development of the report in March of 2026, beginning with an all-staff town hall and continuing through a number of staff working sessions with the extended and senior management teams. And you can actually see a selection of photos on this slide of one of the half-day workshops that we delivered. And I can tell you that the development of this report was truly an organization-wide endeavor and reflects the collective efforts and work and commitment and contributions and dedication of every department, of every branch, the administration teams, the library team, and countless staff. And so really, while I'm the one here today talking about it, any of the individuals that you see in front of you or members of their respective teams would be very well placed to be in front of this podium representing this work. I also have to extend sincere credit to our communications team, and specifically Ryan Bremner, who led the design of this report completely in-house. So all of the design elements you see throughout the report, the imagery, the graphics, all of the features that make the report engaging and dynamic, and really transform it from words on a page to, I can't wait to turn the page and see what's next. That is all due to the leadership of our communications team and their creative talents, and in particular, Ryan, our communications coordinator. You'll also notice in the report, rather than simply listing, providing a list of completed projects, the activities and initiatives and descriptions actually illustrate how the deliverables have tied back to Council's strategic plan. So you'll see the report organized by strategic priority. You will see specific metrics attached to each activity, and you'll also see what we're calling Did You Know features, which provide some key facts, describe town programs, explain topics that may be often misunderstood, and also provide a behind the scenes into some of the work that may not be so directly visible to residents, but are critical in enabling high quality service delivery and frontline services. And you'll also see a feature in the report from the East Gwillimbury Public Library, and we're very fortunate to have them with us today, and they'll be delivering a presentation shortly. So if we go to the next slide. So Attached to each of the 5 priorities in the strategic plan is a set of key deliverables. And there are 29 key deliverables identified in the strategic plan in total. As of today, and recognizing that there are still a few months left in this council term, 24 of the 29 key deliverables have been completed. 4 are on track to be completed by the end of the term, and 1 has been paused due to recent provincial legislation. And you can find more information about the status of each key deliverable within the body of the report itself, and it's also summarized on pages 15 and 16 of the report, and I'm happy to answer any questions as well. So I'm not going to attempt to go through 4 years of activities or go through the 60 pages of the report's content in this presentation today, but what I will do is just provide a glimpse into the report itself and some of the key highlights that you can look forward to reading more about across the 5 priorities here. So if we go to the next slide, we'll start with quality programs and services. Thank you. So a lot of work happened over the course of this term to strengthen community safety. A comprehensive fire and emergency service review was completed, identifying 24 opportunities for improvement, which were addressed over the course of the term. Investments were made to increase full-time firefighter staffing. The recruit training program was transitioned online, and the establishing and regulating bylaw was updated. The bylaw team responded to over 3,500 requests this term and conducted over 6,000 inspections. And numerous initiatives were implemented as part of the Safer Streets program to improve traffic and pedestrian safety for the community. The town expanded online service delivery and payment options. A new online customer service portal was implemented, allowing residents to submit service requests online. Over 17,000 online payments were processed this term. The active EG membership system was refreshed, and the Health and Active Living Guide was redesigned to improve user experience and accessibility, and this was actually an award-winning initiative. And this service modernization work is continuing through the town website redesign project, which is now underway. By the end of 2026, the town expects to have delivered 155 town-run events. The grand opening of the Health and Active Living Plaza was one of them, welcoming over 10,000 visitors over the course of 3 days of programming. Over the term, the town offered over 1,800 registered programs, and participation in recreation programs increased by over 200% over the term, with more than 11,000 participants. An event strategy was developed and adopted this term as well, and the town saw an average of 100 volunteers participate through the Engaged EG volunteer program on an annual basis. And finally, significant investments in infrastructure were made in roads through the road rehabilitation program, in bridges and culverts through the structure rehabilitation program. The town delivered 2 asset management plans this term. And across the town, 720,000 square feet of facilities, numerous activities were undertaken to responsibly manage those spaces, to undertake repairs and updates, to improve accessibility, and to support operations. And an example of that, the town secured a $600,000 grant from the province to implement accessibility upgrades at the sports complex. If we go to the next slide on responsible growth. So one of the notable achievements from this term was being awarded over $1 million from the province for achieving 92% of the town's 2024 housing target and breaking ground on 328 new homes that year in EG. The building branch issued over 1,000 building permits and over 800 residential occupancy permits and completed over 20,000 building inspections, resulting in over $750 million in construction value. The town also undertook a review and update of the official plan and the complete community secondary strategy, which we heard more about today, developed and began implementing a built heritage strategy, and designated the community of Sharon as the town's first heritage conservation district. The town also completed updates to the water and wastewater, the transportation, and the active transportation and trails plans, as well as the development charge, background study, and bylaw. From an economic development perspective, the town worked with partners to deliver the Y-Space program, which hosted over 180 business events, provided 290 hours of mentorship to small businesses, and supported over 210 entrepreneurs in EG. The Economic Development team also launched a refreshed AdvantageEG.ca website to better support both local businesses and prospective investors. And through the Business Retention and Expansion Program, over 1,100 business contacts were made in the past 3 years, with over 750 business interactions annually. This term, the town also worked closely with the development community, with regional and provincial partners, and with South Lake Health to support the announcement of a future new hospital in EG. The town also supported business and investment attraction, including the Loblaws Distribution Center, which represents the largest private sector investment in the town's history and has generated over 700 jobs. The town has also been working in partnership with York Region and with local municipalities to support the expansion of the York-Durham sewage system to enable new housing projects. So just a few examples of some of the major and transformational projects that have been supported and delivered this term. Next slide, please. So in 2023, Council declared a climate emergency, and this gave way to the development of EG's Thinking Green environmental strategy. And over half of the actions identified in that strategy have already been completed, including the Corporate Energy Plan, which identifies some promising per capita emission reduction targets that you see on the slide here. A community energy plan and a climate adaptation plan have also been advanced and will be presented to Council later this summer. The Environmental Initiatives team delivered 57 environmental-related community engagement activities with over 1,800 participants. Operationally, the town has been able to consistently achieve a 70% waste diversion rate through active community participation. Over 16,000 tons of waste and over 75 tons of textiles were diverted from landfills. Almost 8,000 accounts are now registered for e-billing, representing a 180% increase over the course of the term. And the town adopted a green fleet strategy, enacted a new tree protection bylaw, updated the site alteration bylaw, and transitioned the blue bin recycling program to the province as mandated. The town also initiated a multi-year LED streetlight conversion strategy, undertook work to update the Thinking Green development standards, and established a new environmental compliance framework for stormwater and sanitary systems. Next slide, please. So one of the most notable achievements from this term was the opening of the Health and Active Living Plaza, which is the town's largest capital project and home to EG's first aquatic center. Since its opening in October, the Help has seen an average of 5,000 weekly visits, with community members taking advantage of the gymnasium, the walking track, program spaces, the pool, the library, the indoor playground, and more, with the outdoor park space set to open soon with more amenities for residents to take advantage of. In addition to the Help, the Parks team undertook over 40 park and trail construction and improvement projects this term across all 3 wards. You can see some examples on the slide here. The town also advanced 2 of the largest road infrastructure and revitalization projects in its history in the downtown communities of Holland Landing and Mount Albert, with construction scheduled for completion by the end of this year. This includes road reconstruction and rehabilitation work on sidewalks, water mains, LED street lighting, environmental sustainability features, accessibility features, and public realm design and placemaking, just to name a few. And finally, the town began progressing in the early stages of the Civic Center site redevelopment project and launched an on-street parking pilot to test flexible parking strategies across the community. Next slide, please. And finally, on creating a culture of municipal excellence, this term, the town demonstrated financial stewardship through its updated business planning and budget processes, and award-winning financial reporting, and maintained the lowest relative property taxes in York Region. The People and Belonging team implemented the EGU Belong employee experience strategy to support staff well-being and engagement, which alongside other initiatives led to the town being recognized as one of the GTA top employers. The town also developed the Indigeneity, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Action Plan, or as we call it, the IDEA Action Plan, with 58% of initiatives underway or complete. The town also launched an Instagram channel in 2023, and that alongside the town's other social media channels has now seen over 24,000 followers, which represents a 92% growth over the term. The town's website has attracted over 1 million visits each year, And this term, the town is engaged in over 130,000 customer service interactions. On top of all of this, the town updated and created new policies, procedures, bylaws to support municipal excellence and established and maintained strong working relationships with local, regional, provincial, and sector partners. So those are just some of the projects and activities that are highlighted within the report. This presentation was really just a snapshot and scratches the surface. If we go to the next slide, we're going to be working in collaboration with the communications team, and sincere thanks to Rachel Dallas and Danielle Malzer from our communications team. A rollout plan and a communication strategy has been developed to present the results of this report to the community. And so following approval, the report will be printed in a booklet form and will be made available for residents to pick up at our town facilities, including our libraries. A digital copy of the report will be made available on our website. A media release has been prepared and will be published so to inform the community about the report and to provide a link to the report. And a social media communications campaign has also been developed and will roll out over the next several weeks to profile some of the activities from the report to the community. And finally, you will find us across the community, across the summer, at our town facilities and events, doing pop-up engagements to share more information with members of the public. Another thing I'll mention is, in addition to the 60-page report, a companion document has been developed to share the highlights of the report. It really distills all the information down into a 6 to 8 page overview for those looking for a quick summary. So there are multiple ways for residents to engage with the information, whether they want just the highlights or are looking for more detail. So, in summary, the term in review is really part of a broader reporting package that builds on our strategic plan annual reports and our annual financial reports to provide a continuous reporting framework so that residents can measure our progress over time and are also provided with a comprehensive summary closer to the end of the term. So if we go to the last slide, today we are seeking council's endorsement and specifically looking for the report to be approved and shared with the community. So that is the end of the presentation portion, but happy to take any questions or comments or feedback from members of council at this time. Thank you.
Questions? Councillor Crothers, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, and thank you to staff for putting this together. It really gives residents an idea of the scope of the work that's undertaken in the town, and just the numbers really help quantify just how much work is getting done. I think it's important that we share this as much as possible. If I wasn't so concerned about the environment, I'd ask that we mail it to every resident. But I think a digital copies, getting it in the newsletter, that sort of thing, I'm looking forward to seeing a comm strategy on this. I think one of the things, in addition to just the amount of work that we've done for residents, one of the things that I really like about this is how far we have come in the strategic planning process. When I first joined council, it felt very loosey-goosey, for lack of a better word, coming up with our strat plan and then kind of looking back, oh yeah, we did everything. Well, maybe not that one, but yeah, pretty much. But this is just, the process behind it is so good that it really holds everyone to account, because so many times when we've asked for things up here, we're just expecting that it's going to happen. And seeing this formalize that, yes, that did happen, yes, that did happen. You know, one thing didn't happen because something changed provincially, and the accountability is there. So, you know, residents ask for accountability and transparency, and that's what this document shows. It's very much about showing the residents the work that we've done, the work they've asked us to do, and making sure we've checked all those boxes. So thank you for the work you did in putting this together.
Thank you very much. Councillor Crone, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I echo the comments of my colleague, Councillor Carruthers. This is a great report card for the term. You know, when you're in the whirlwind of the job and doing this, and you sometimes think, oh, are we ever accomplish anything? And then when you look back, you go, oh, wow, did we ever? You know, a help, pretty big project that was delivered upon under budget, I might add. We're going to get a hospital. That's going to be, the progress on that will be followed over subsequent terms and review in the years ahead, in the years to come. I guess my question to staff, and maybe I'll put Mr. Velchich on the spot here, being the CAO, so the team leader, the captain. Is there any one lesson in particular that you gained throughout this term that maybe you grew a little bit, or the team grew a little bit over this term? Is there a big revelation that you'd like to share with us that's not necessarily captured in this, but it's something that you're particularly proud of, that's maybe not captured in this document, but I'm giving you a chance to brag here, so take it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I won't brag, but what I will do is comment on maybe picking up a little bit on Councillor Crother's point, because I'm a big proponent of well-defined processes that guide how we do things to ensure we're effective and efficient in our program and service delivery. And I will say that the process of developing the strategic plan, tying it very directly to annual business planning, tying that very directly to budgeting and budget approvals, tying that very directly to multi-year staffing plans, tying that very directly to year-in review reports, and then ultimately this sort of culmination at the end of the term, it does pull together what sometimes seem like very disparate pieces and processes and activities, and tries to boil it down into something that's digestible and understandable. To those of us that are even working in it, it can be overwhelming at times, and let alone from folks looking in from the outside. So I would think that's been the most noticeable change that I've seen, that I think has not only benefited the administration and our processes, but also our ability to work effectively with council, deliver on council's vision, and then communicate that effectively to the public. So that's what I would say for this term for me.
Thank you, and thank you to you and your team for helping us achieve this. Back to you, Madam Mayor.
Are there other comments at this time? I'm not seeing any.
Happy to move.
I have Councillor Crone for a mover and a seconder. Thank you. Be it resolved that the administration presentation and report admin 2026-01 dated June 23rd, 2026, entitled 2022-2026 term in review be received, and that the 2022 and 2026 term in review report be approved and shared with our community. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. I'm now on item G, East Gwillimbury Public Library. Number 1, the East Gwillimbury Public Library presentation 2023 to 2026 term in review. Welcome. Good to have you with us this evening.
Thank you for having me. Hello, Madam Mayor and the councillors. My name is Srihari Karu. I am a trustee on the East Gwillimbury Public Library Board. I want to start the session of our presentation with a little bit of sharing my personal experience. As a child growing up in Sri Lanka, I did not have access to public libraries in my family until my family migrated to Canada. In 1981, during a period of escalating ethnic tensions in Sri Lanka, the one and only public library for the entire province, the Jaffna Public Library, one of the most important repositories of Tamil literature and history and cultural records, was deliberately burnt down, resulting in destruction of thousands of books, closely about 73,000 books. For many, it remains as a powerful example of how access to knowledge, culture, memory can be targeted, lost, and how deeply communities are affected when that happens. When I later attended a university in Canada, I had the privilege of working in an academic library, and it deepened my appreciation how important libraries are. They're not just buildings filled with books, but it is a safe space for learning, growth, and community. These experiences stayed with me and inspired my commitment to strengthening and supporting our libraries today. It is one of the main reasons why I joined East Gwillimbury Public Board, just to help our future generations that they will always have access to knowledge, opportunities, and sense of belonging that our public libraries provide. Next slide, please. Between 2023 and 2026, the East Gwillimbury Public Library Board, referred as EGPL, advanced a significant period of growth, modernization, and community impact. Guided by EGPL's strategic plan to build healthy communities, expand access, and provide excellence experiences, the library strengthened its role as a community hub for literacy, belonging, and discovery. In parallel, the 2024 Library Services Growth Plan positioned EGPL to respond proactively to rapid growth in population, evolving facility needs, and future of library service delivery. EGPL's facility and service planning was shaped by this expanding community profile and the need to adapt library spaces and operations. The opening of the Queensville branch at the Health and Active Living Plaza in 2025 directly aligned the growth plan recommendations to expand capacity, modernize infrastructure, and ensure equitable services distributions across the population growth. This expansion filled the strategic plan's commitment to providing welcoming, accessible spaces that foster connection and community well-being. Next slide, please. The Library Services Growth Plan affirms the library's role as a center for learning, exploration, and connection. Library programs and services bring this vision to life by supporting East Gwillimbury residents at the Holland Landing, Mount Albert, and Queensville branches, and the Sharon Library Locker, building relationships, sharing knowledge, and staying connected as our community grows. The people-centered approach ensures the library remains a welcoming, inclusive neighborhood space for everyone. The growth plan also recognizes the importance of evolving alongside residents by adapting to technological change, by embracing new digital tools, resources, and service models. The digital library supports a wide range of learning skills, styles, interests, and access needs while remaining relevant in the rapidly changing environment. Next slide, please. The library board trustees are appointed by council for a 4-year term. This aligns with the municipal term of council as prescribed by the Ontario Public Libraries Act. This alignment helps ensure community in governance, strengthens accountability, and supports collective collaboration between the library board and the council in serving the community's need. The East Gwillimbury Public Board is accountable to the community for fostering and establishing strategic priorities and ensuring responsible stewardship of public resources in the delivery of public library services. One of the primary ways of accountability is demonstrated is through the publication of an annual report, which communicates the services outcomes, community impact, and future priorities in transparent and accountable manner. I would now like to introduce our CEO, East Gwillimbury Public Library CEO, Sandra Sider, who will now present on the 2023-2026 Library Board Terms Strategic Plan Achievements. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Srihari. That's appreciated. Madam Mayor, good evening, and Council. I'd like to take this opportunity to share with you the East Gwillimbury Public Library's 2023-2026 accomplishments with an emphasis on our 2025 annual report. Next slide, please. Our term accomplishments reflect a library system that has strengthened its foundations, modernized many of our services, and planned responsibly for the future. Guided by our strategic plan and the Library Services Growth Plan, we've built a system equipped with the resources, spaces, and services needed to support this growing community. Certainly a defining milestone was the launch of the Queensville branch, adding 18,000 square feet of vibrant library space, including 30,000 new books to discover, resources, dedicated children's area, of course, our makerspace, design studio, and of course, flexible program rooms and our study spaces. Next slide. It's been a successful term in connecting with people where they're at. The library continues to serve residents right across East Gwillimbury at all of our accessible service points. Together, these connection points ensure that all residents have easy access to library service programs and collections. It reinforces our commitment to meet residents where they're at. Next slide, please. The library delivered programs and services that fostered community connection, creativity, and social support. The strategic plan highlights the library's role in cultivating connected communities through civic engagement and enriching experiences. This commitment was demonstrated through sensory-inclusive programs and English language learning supports, Indigenous-led learning circles to inform Anishinaabe language signage, sustainable environmental learning opportunities, and continued community-focused initiatives at the Holland Landing Food Pantry. Next slide, please. Grounded in the strategic plan's focus on removing barriers and expanding access to information and opportunities, the library pursued multiple modernization initiatives. These included a redesigned website with improved accessibility, upgraded public internet infrastructure and expanded self-service functions, expanded digital literacy opportunities with new technology, focused Library of Things items, very popular items, cyber incident library circulation response plan, essential in these times. Next slide, please. The strategic plan emphasizes providing empowering experiences rooted in equity, inclusion, and strong relationships. This was supported through refreshed branch spaces, both in our Holland Landing Children's Area, still to come, and Mount Albert study rooms, in place with customers loving the extra silence. Implementation of a service delivery model and an updated organizational structure to support our new 3-branch system. Engagement, evaluation, and professional development initiatives to strengthen staff culture. Next slide, please. What a great picture. An amazing team, to say the least. Delivering exceptional experiences starts with investing in our library team. Through our employee engagement strategy, continuous support, and strong feedback loops, we remain committed to strengthening a positive and responsive workplace culture. This commitment is reflected not only in our employee survey results, but more importantly in the voices and experiences of those served by our team. One resident posted, "We love our local library and appreciate all the East Gwillimbury library locations. Kids growing up with positive memories and experiences with their local libraries is a beautiful thing." We couldn't agree more. With the governance of the East Gwillimbury Public Library Board, we have been able to accomplish beautiful things. I'd now like to call on Heather Alblas, Director of Community Engagement and Projects, to share some of our community impacts. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Heather Alblas, Director of Community Engagement and Projects at the library. I will now present a high-level view of the library's key metrics and accomplishments from the past term. Next slide, please. The library recently opened its Queensville branch during its 50th anniversary year of serving the community. In the spring of 2025, the library's 50th birthday party drew over 500 attendees. Several months later, the Queensville branch grand opening welcomed approximately 7,000 visitors, with over 500 new library cards issued. The accomplishment of these milestones, along with the strong community response, demonstrate the library board's success in overseeing the library's strategic priorities. Over many years of planning, the library board guided budgeting and policy decisions while advocating for the library, creating a strong foundation for growth and increasing public awareness of the library's value. Next slide, please. Our numbers reveal a narrative of progress, connection, and community building. Reflective of the grand opening, 2025 numbers show increases in engagement across all service areas, with overall engagement increasing by 18% from 2024 to 2025. These numbers show that residents continue to seek out the library to access its services and resources. These numbers also show the relationship between community growth and the need for expanded library facilities as outlined in the library's growth plan. Next slide, please. The library connects with many audiences, including those in early years, children's, teens, adults, schools and daycares, and community groups. Since 2023, the library maintained steady program engagement, seeing an increase in 2025 in step with the new branch opening. In the first quarter of this year, the library has already seen a 15% increase in program participation compared to Q1 of 2025. In addition to the numbers, community feedback shares a story of value, learning, and enjoyment. Abbreviated from the slides, community members share, round of applause, free classes every week to keep our kids curious and engaged. And my kids find the educational activities quite fun and engaging, and the staff provide a positive and supportive environment. Programming accomplishments from this past term include new makerspace offerings, educational support such as kindergarten readiness and reading buddy programs, as well as improved food pantry services. Next slide, please. The Holland Landing Food Pantry, founded in 2017, has become an essential support hub for our community and will acknowledge 10 years of community service this year. Its operations rely on a team of 40 volunteers, along with contributions from residents, churches, and community organizations. In 2025, the pantry supported over 2,000 clients, a 19% increase from 2024. This growth highlights both rising need and the community's strong dedication to addressing food insecurity. And I will now invite Ben Van Gorp to share the library's public service and technology key performance indicators. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Ben Van Gorp. I am the Director of Public Service and Technology at the East Gwillimbury Public Library. I'm going to be going into more depth into some of our stats related to our core service areas. Next slide, please. This term of council has been a period of growth across all of our service areas. In this slide, visits to the library are showing steady growth from the period of 2023 to 2024, and then an extreme jump in 2025 to over 112,000 in-person visits. In the first quarter of 2026, we have exceeded our previous year's totals by 135%, and by mid-May, we will have already exceeded our total visits in 2023. What is more, these are exceptional experiences, with visitors describing the library as a place that is designed for everyone, from students to seniors, and that you feel relaxed the moment when you walk in. Next slide, please. This trend can be seen in the public's use of our study spaces as well. In the early design of the Queensville branch, private study space was a major priority of our community. And during this term, we expanded access by improving the Mount Albert study room spaces as well, and while offering more branches with the opening, more spaces with the opening of the Queensville branch. The community has responded with steady growth year over year and already very strong numbers in 2026. Next slide, please. The library's book lending is also seeing this period of steady growth. While our digital circulations remain stable, our physical circulations grow year over year. Our library in total loaned 246,000 digital and physical items in 2025, and as of March 31st, 2026, we're showing a 30% increase over the previous year. The credit here goes to the exceptional service of our collections team in providing and selecting fantastic items for our collection. This work is intentional, so much so it's actually recognized in our reviews, which was a lovely review to read. And regular updates ensure that we have the most up-to-date information on our shelves and the next best seller that your neighbor or yourself might be looking for. Next slide, please. Now, it's very easy to make this conversation about Queensville, but this slide shows that our Holland Landing branch and Mount Albert branches are considered home for many of our residents. These show where our community considers to be their default branch, their home place to pick up things when they need to pick up something quickly. And while Queensville's share is growing, the convenience of coming to your local branch to quickly pick up your items is still key. This local connection is very clearly displayed in our next slide. If you can go to the next slide, please. Council's aware of this image. We like to show it as often as we can. It shows the impact of a new branch in our community. You can see that cardholders are not being pulled just from Mount Albert and Holland Landing as a new branch is opened, but rather we're creating new hotspots within the community. The construction of the Health and Active Living Plaza has activated many residents who were not previously cardholders. And now clearly you can see where we are getting a lot of visits and new cardholders from. Next slide, please. This is also recognized in our new cardholder statistics. This graph represents people who are signing up for a card for the first time, whether it be for themselves or their family members or children. At the start of the term, there was a steady influx. We would have regular replenishment as people moved into the community, and then an exponential jump. In the fourth quarter of 2025 and the first quarter of 2026, we are way above historical averages, although the lessening in 2026 is much to the relief of our frontline staff who are getting a little tired. Overall, this graph demonstrates over 7,000 cards created during this term, just alone within our system, reflecting the residents actively seeking out the library for themselves and their children as a place to go. Next slide, please. This is our last slide for KPIs, but it's a great place to end as we end this term. The library, as of March 31st, 2026, had 12,151 cardholders, which marked a 36% increase over the number of active cardholders we had at the end of 2023. It's a clear indicator that we're reaching new users with our expanded access and are retaining our existing cardholders through our exceptional experiences. I'm going to call Sandra Sador back up to finish our presentation.
Thanks so much, Ben. Those are definitely charts to review and enjoy. Good news stories all the way around. In conclusion, I'd like to outline next steps in communicating these accomplishments. Similar to the town, the library board will be connecting with residents this summer at the new music and market evenings that are going to be absolutely fantastic. They'll be spreading library cheer, which they do such an amazing job of, and in addition to that, providing information on how to get involved and library board recruitment as we prepare for the new term. It's going to be a fantastic summer, and we look forward to activating our achievements that have been delivered through our strategic plan. Next slide. I'd now like to take a time, Mayor and Council, for any questions you may have.
I'm not seeing anyone. Oh, we do have one. Go ahead, please.
Thanks. I can kick it off as one of our library board liaisons. I want to thank you for the presentation, but I really want to thank Ms. Carew for your presentation. I think that in Canada, we take our libraries for granted. There's always a library. You can always get a library card. So your personal story makes us remember that we can't take it for granted, that this is a public service that our residents use. Was very clear from Ben's presentation that our residents are using the library. This is money well spent, and it's a service that people have come to expect from us, and something that we shouldn't take for granted. So thank you for laying that all out so clearly between all of you. It's very much appreciated, and I've so enjoyed being on the library board, because what they presented today is the tip of the iceberg. When we sit in those meetings, we hear so much more about what's going on, and it's so much more than books. So thank you for that.
Councillor Crone?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you to our presenters tonight. And I just want to start by saying that I hope, our public library, and I want everyone in this room and anyone watching on YouTube to hear this. Our library is one of the most underrated affordability tools out there. It's not just about books anymore. You can replace so many subscriptions, services out there. You can get rid of your Kindle, your Audible subscription by switching over to Libby and Hoopla, and you can get rid of your Netflix subscription by using Canopy. And then get me started on the library of things that you offer, where you can go into a branch and you can sign up tools, power tools, a metal detector. It's all this crazy stuff that you have that you would never use every day, but if you have to use it once, it's there to use. So you're doing a huge service for people to help save money. One of the questions through you, Madam Mayor, to Ms. Zador, a number of years ago, I asked your predecessor, if money were no object, what would be one thing that you'd like to do? And her answer at the time was immediately build the Queensville branch. And so that's done now. So I'm going to ask you the same question, knowing that the Queensville branch is open. If money were no object, what would you like to do? What's the next mountain that you want to claim for the library?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Crone, thank you for that question. I would like to turn that question slightly and say, money is an object, and at this time, it has become a reality for so many of our residents. So my goal for 2027, as we've really been putting pencil to paper, is to ensure that we're formulating a budget that speaks to a lot of the fiscal pressures that are being felt right across our township. And so thank you for mentioning about the affordability, and to Councillor Crothers, who reminded us of the value of the library and really was spearheading conversations about let's get this down on paper. And at our library board meeting just last night, we had the opportunity, Ben presented the Valuing Ontario Libraries Toolkit. More to come on that. It'll definitely be included in our budget presentation. And also, it's going to be spearheading our affordability campaign. And that's critical. We need to be reminded the value of libraries because for such a long time, people have just been quick to buy. Now people are stopping and they're really giving consideration to the circular economy and how they can get involved in it and the benefits of it. So it's our turn to shine. This is library renaissance time and we're gonna run with it. So get ready, watch us on our socials because we've got a lot to say and we're here to meet the needs of our community.
We'll be rolling up our sleeves, all of us, for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Foster?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Ms. Sedora, I'll say it again. I've talked to you a number of times about, give me the numbers, blow me away with the numbers, and that's exactly what you've done with this report. So I still run into the odd person that says the amount of money you're spending on the library is ridiculous. In the online world that we live in, libraries are not required. This report blows that theory out of the water, I think. When we start talking about your engagement numbers, visits, card holders, circulation, program numbers, the use of the study rooms, which I wondered about when the new place opened. Again, I think that the numbers out of this report further strengthen what we do when it comes to the library. So congratulations and great report.
Thank you so much. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Foster, thank you so much for your words of kindness. And I do remember the very first time we met, we were in the shadow of the Stanley Cup. And you were very direct, and you said, welcome to East Gwillimbury. Now show me the numbers. So I'm certainly proud to present today the growth in numbers, and we continue to work hard to a bright future with our libraries in East Gwillimbury.
Thank you for your presentation today. It was wonderful, and I know that everyone has listened to this very seriously and are going to be, I would think, looking a little more at our libraries and how the door is open all the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor.
I have a motion dated June 23rd, 2026, entitled 2003-2026 Term in Review be received. All in favor? I'm sorry, I need a seconder. Thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. We are going to go to item H, committee recommendations. Councillor Johns, you previously indicated that you had a conflict in relation to committee recommendations, CWC 2026-079. I suggest that we separate this item out and vote on it first prior to addressing the balance of the June 2nd recommendations. And at this time, can I have a mover and seconder regarding CWC recommendations 2026-079?
Happy to move.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. We will now consider the balance of the June 2nd committee recommendations. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Foster. Councillor John, thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. We're at number 2, to adopt the Committee of the Whole Council recommendation from the meeting held on June 23rd, 2026. Could I have a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Crone, Councillor Crothers, thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And we are now at item I, and that is the adoption of minutes. Item number 1, be it resolved that council adopt the following minutes. Committee of the Whole Council minutes from the regular meeting held on June 2nd, 2026. Council minutes from the special meeting held on June 2nd, 2026. And council minutes from the regular meeting held on June 2nd, 2026. All those in favor? Oh, and mover and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Johns, Councillor. Thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. I am now going to pass the chair to Councillor Crothers for the statutory public meeting portion of tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of the public, this portion of the council meeting is a statutory public meeting under the Planning Act. The purpose of this meeting is to inform and obtain public input on the planning application received by the town prior to a full technical analysis being conducted by staff. No decision to approve or refuse the application will be made here tonight. Following the applicant's presentation, members of the public will be invited to offer their comments respecting the proposal. Submissions may also be made in writing to planning@eastgwillimbury.ca. If you plan to speak at this meeting, or if you wish to be notified of any future council meetings concerning this application, please complete the form located at the desk at the back of the council chambers. Her hand is up. There you go. I will now ask the General Manager of Development Services to introduce the application.
Thank you very much. I wanted to start off by being quite clear that we're at the early stages of our process. This application was just received in May of this year. And when we report back, it will be into the next term of council. We will not be reporting out this year because we will be running out of meetings by the time we're in a position to make any recommendations. So I wanted the members of the public to know that there certainly is ample time to engage with both the applicant and ourselves on this matter. What is before us is a request to rezone the lands to, in essence, convert what were approved 8 single-family lots into 35 townhouse lots. And so we're, as I said, we're very early in our process. Staff will review it for both consistency with the official plan and fit. And earlier today, we had, I'm going to say, healthy discussion about fit, and that will be a good portion of our dialogue that we have with the applicant. I also know that the applicant is here to present, and I'm not sure who is presenting. They're online? Oh, thank you, okay. So I would ask the applicant if they could start their presentation now. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of council. My name is Jonathan Sasso. I am a senior planner at Humphreys Planning Group, acting on behalf of Sharonvit Estates, Inc., who's the legally registered owners of the lands described as lots 12 to 19, registered plan 65M 4505, part of lot 8, concession 2. And these lands are municipally known as 111, 109, and 107 Manor, Hampton Street, as well as 170, 171, 172, 173, and 175 Sharon Creek Drive, collectively known as subject lands. On behalf of Sharonvit Estates, Inc., or Mosaic Homes, an application for zoning bylaw amendment and site plan approval was submitted to permit the revision to phase 1 of an existing improved draft plan of subdivision, which was registered in June of 2016. The revised proposal seeks to permit for the development of 35 residential townhome dwellings contained in 3 development blocks. Next slide, please. So The subject lands are generally located at the southeast and southwest corner of Sharon Creek Drive and Manor Hampton Street in the community of Sharon. They are comprised of 8 independent parcels, which represents existing undeveloped lots associated with a former approved registered plan of subdivision. Overall, the subject lands comprise of 0.42 hectares or 1.03 acres in area, with multiple frontages, including 30.64 meters along the west side of Sharon Creek Drive, 49.57 meters along the east side of Sharon Creek Drive, and approximately 59.23 meters along Manor Hampton Street. Next slide, please. This is just an excerpt from the approved subdivision plan illustrating where these lots are located. As you can see, the lots formed part of a broader and much more comprehensive draft plan of subdivision, again, which was approved by council and was registered in June 2016. Much of the surrounding lots have been developed as contemplated through that draft plan of subdivision. However, the lots highlighted in red which form and are subject to this application are currently undeveloped and are remnant lots associated with that subdivision plan. Next slide, please. So in terms of the surrounding context, immediately north of the subject lands is Manor Hampton Street. On the north side of Manor Hampton Street are existing single detached dwellings located along both the east and west sides of Sharon Creek Drive, as well as vacant residential lots associated with phase 1 of the Sharonvit Estates Inc. Subdivision. South, you can see directly south of the lands are open space areas, as well as undeveloped lands, which are subject to approved zoning bylaw amendments and draft plan of subdivision applications, which seek to permit the development of 65 residential units in stacked back-to-back townhouse forms. Immediately east of the subject lands is open space lands and natural heritage features associated with the East Holland River. And west of the subject lands are existing 2-story single detached dwellings developed as part of phase 1 of the Sharonvit Estates subdivision. Next slide, please. The development proposal seeks to permit the revision to the phase 1 of an existing approved draft plan of subdivision as indicated in order to allow for the development of 35 residential townhouse dwellings contained in 3 development blocks. The development proposes to consolidate 2 single detached lots on the west side of Sharon Creek Drive to construct 6 street townhome units, as well as to consolidate 6 single detached lots on the east side of Sharon Creek Drive for the purpose of developing 29 back-to-back townhouse units fronting onto Sharon Creek Drive and a private lane. The street townhomes have been designed with a height of 2 stories or 13 meters, and the back-to-back townhomes are proposed to be 3 stories in height, also 13 meters. Next slide, please. Here are just some conceptual elevations of the various blocks. You can see block 1, 2, which are the back-to-back townhomes units, are exhibiting high quality architecture, various materiality, which is consistent with what you would expect in this area and what has been developed through previous development applications and approvals. Next slide, please. And you're seeing that throughout our architectural elevations as well in block 3 on all sides. Next slide, please. In terms of the policy framework, the subject lands are designated as community area per Schedule A1 of the in force and effect official plan. I mean, community areas consist of a variety of housing types, tenures, and densities. The subject lands are also designated low density residential and partially designated environmental protection area in the Town of East Gwillimbury official plan. I would highlight your attention to section 4.4.2.2 of the official plan that indicates that low density areas may be developed with ground-oriented housing, including townhomes at densities ranging from 20 to 30 units per hectare, calculated on an overall development basis. Next slide, please. In terms of the zoning bylaw, the lands are zoned residential 2, subzone 2, and residential 2, subzone 1. We have submitted a zoning bylaw amendment application to rezone the lands to a site-specific residential 4 zone to permit townhomes and rear lane townhouse dwelling forms, which are currently not permitted in the zoning bylaw. And the zoning bylaw was obviously predicated on the previous subdivision plan, which contemplated single detached dwellings on these lots. Our zoning bylaw amendment introduces an amendment to some of the performance standards as well for multi-residential buildings, including site-specific exceptions to the lot area, minimum lot frontage, minimum exterior yard, and maximum building height. Next slide, please. Here we see the requirement for townhomes and back-to-back townhomes, and the bold numbering indicates where we are seeking relief, and you can see from the chart that the relief is very minor and contextually appropriate for this area. Next slide, please. In terms of where we are in the planning approvals process, again, we submitted our zoning bylaw amendment and site plan approval application in April of 2026. We received a notice of complete application from planning staff on May 15th, 2026. The application is currently under review by the various internal departments and external agencies, and comments are forthcoming. We are here today at the statutory public meeting. Next steps include receipt of technical comments, addressing and resolving those technical comments through a submission, a staff report with recommendations to town council, council decision, a final decision, and future applications to fully implement the development proposal. Next slide, please. That concludes my presentation. I'd be pleased to answer any questions that staff or members of council may have, as well as the public. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Since this is a statutory public meeting, I'm going to go to the public first, and then I'll circle back to members of council if they have any questions. Is there anyone, any member of the public that wants to speak or ask any questions about this development?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Through you, we have received one registered speaker for this particular application. We have Celine Dorazio, who has requested to speak on this particular application.
Thank you. Is she here? Yes, there she is. Come on down. Thank you very much for coming, and we look forward to hearing your questions.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Celine Dorazio, and I'm here on behalf of my family, my friends, neighbors, and my community. Lots that would like to be here today, but are putting their children to sleep, as I've been doing a lot of door knocking lately, to discuss the proposed rezoning of 8 parcels of land that currently planned for 8 single detached homes on Manor, Hampton Street and Sharon Creek Drive. The town's official plan designates this area as low-density residential, otherwise known as a residential 2, R2, primarily made for single detached homes with a consistent neighborhood scale. This is the foundation of our issue today. R4 is proposed, which includes back-to-back townhouses across the site, which goes well beyond the intended density, form, and scale of our neighborhood. Simply, the proposed R4 zoning does not conform to the low-density residential designation of our town's official plan and zoning height of 12 meters. The official plan is very clear about compatibility with existing neighborhood. The official plan has section 354, land use compatibility, which requires development to fit in surrounding uses. Section 343, good urban design, requires respect for scaling, massing, and neighborhood character. When you look at the actual application for this site, you can see the issue. Townhouses, blocks, backing onto existing homes, increased height and massing, little separation between uses. It's not a natural fit. It feels compressed, intensified, and out of neighborhood character. Therefore, this isn't good planning. This isn't just a small change. It increases a very different build from what exists today. The Sharon secondary plan is clear on one thing. New development must transition properly to existing low-density areas, and this is our biggest gap. That means stepping down height, increasing setbacks at the edges, and in this proposal, the transition is existing homes along Sharon Creek Drive and surrounding areas is limited. I'd argue there isn't any. Instead, it's a fairly abrupt jump in density. Buildings that appear too close and too tall at the edges, a condition that will feel imposing for adjacent residents, that's inconsistent and not what the secondary plan is trying to achieve. real impacts on our residents, for the people already living here. This translates into real everyday impacts. Loss of sunlight, direct overlook, our privacy being violated, trapped air, noise pollution, impact on our health, a sense of being surrounded by larger, more dominant buildings. This development will feel too close, too tight, and too imposing for low-density residential neighborhood. It will lower my property value and is out of character in our neighborhood. This goes beyond what was planned. This isn't just about adding housing. It's about whether it's happening in the right way and whether planning is done appropriately. The secondary plan sets out where different housing types should go, how density should be distributed, and how infrastructure supports that growth. The proposal here today, an intensification beyond what was originally planned for this area. And once this happens, it becomes harder to maintain consistency across our neighborhood. Keep East Gwillimbury's community design and plan in high standards. It's the dream that we all bought into, as we call this place home for a very long time, and we encourage our families and friends to invest here. We vote to keep the 8 single detached homes on 8 parcels of land as planned and promised to our current residents and taxpayers. If council is not in a position to refuse the application, then the edges of this development, meaning our boundary lines, absolutely should be improved, especially where it meets our existing homes. This should include larger setbacks along existing residential edges, step backs and reduced height at the perimeter, dense landscaping and tree buffers, solid privacy fence, not something see-through, but something that truly screens a view, reworking of building placements. Right now, those edges in our health are the biggest problems. In closing, this proposal does not align with our low-density residential design from our official plan. This development takes away from the promise we all had of a low-density neighborhood for sunlight, wind, parking space, traffic, and park space. It does not meet compatibility requirements in sections 354 and 343 of the official plan. It does not meet zoning height requirements. It does not provide the kind of transition required by the Sharon secondary plan, and it risks undermining the character of our neighborhood. For those reasons, I would respectfully ask council to, especially at the edges and boundaries, to better fit this into our community. Keep lots 172 and 170 as single detached homes as plans, and adjust the other parcels to reflect our Sharon secondary plan for proper transitioning. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sticking to the 5 minutes, and thank you for an exceptional presentation. You brought up a lot of good points that I've already been thinking about, so I agree very, very much with everything you've said. Is there anyone on council that has any questions? I'm not seeing any, so thank you very much. Madam Clerk, is there any other residents who want to speak to this?
Through you, Madam Chair, at this time, we have not had any other registered speaker.
Thank you. Is anyone in the audience? Okay. If you can come down to the mic, state your name and address, and when you're done, go to the back and fill out the form. Thanks.
Good evening. I'm not as polished as Celine.
She set a high bar, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'm pretty straightforward. My name's Fabio. I live on Manor, Hampton there. And what I would ask council to do is actually go to the 4 corners of Sharon Creek and Manor, Hampton, and stand there for about 2 minutes. Take a look around. The original plan for Mosaic was to finish those homes. They built a premium lot on the corner, and they come, I don't know how many years later, 10, 15, Mr. Sasso, you could probably figure it out, and they want to build townhomes on those premium lots. It's absolutely disgusting. I moved from Richmond Hill. When I moved here and I looked at my home that I'm in now, I went to the East Gwillimbury official plan, looked at it, looked at the zoning. The other day, I just noticed zoning R5, buildings on the corner of Leslie and Manor, Hampton. You got 6-story on one corner, you got 6-story, 4-story, and you got probably 70 to 80 townhomes on that one corner. South of the public school, there's another bunch of townhomes going there. So it sets a very dangerous precedence if you let this go through. Because behind us, the R23, and you got open space, environmental land, everything's up for grabs. The land that they're talking about is small. The amount of townhomes that they want to shove in there is disgusting. And like I said, the only thing I ask is you to go there, sit on that corner for 2 minutes, take a look around and that parcel of land, and you'll know what we're all upset about. There's a lot of people that didn't make it tonight. But if we have another one, Mr. Sasso, I invite you to come down rather than being on the screen, and we'll have a good discussion here. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Make sure you stop at the back and just fill out the form, so we'll make sure we keep you in the loop of what's happening with this. Again, thank you so much for presenting to us, and I just want to reassure you that I know the colleagues that I've spoken to, we do tend to visit the sites when we know something's coming up. So I would say probably all of us have been there and are very well aware of what that corner looks like. So thank you for pointing that out. If there is no one else, Madam Clerk?
Through you, Madam Chair, at this time I'm not aware. However, if you wanted to reconfirm with the audience tonight.
Okay, last call. Anyone else wants to speak to this? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else, so I'll ask my colleagues if anyone on council has any comments that they'd like to make on this. It's not here for approval, but we all have some comments, I'm sure. Councillor Johns, you want to kick us off?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I think that what wasn't heavily touched on, and so because these comments are being recorded and because it wasn't heavily touched on, I'm going to kind of segue away from some of the things that I would normally say, but I'm going to talk about something else and expand a bit. And that is, I do want to expand on traffic, because that, I mean, when the one person was making the comment about standing there, I mean, you've got stop signs and you could stand there. It's almost like, it's like an automatic roll, and the speeding and the heavily traveled road is going to get, I don't want to say worse, I want to say it is, maybe the word was unrecognizable that was used. Because when you're thinking about a master plan community that is occurring, it takes into account the whole puzzle, I'll say. And if you think about what has happened in this term of council, so to the east on Leslie Street on the north side, that was added in, so okay, we've got to change there. And then there is the south, okay, we've got to change there. And then another portion down, we've got another change there. And then on the west side of Morel and south, it looks like other changes. So what was once an extremely well planned, connected community and well integrated, maybe I'll say well integrated community, what is occurring is that these changes around the periphery are dramatically changing the look and feel of the subdivision. What I do want to say is that this product of the 3-story, there are examples of this product. I actually think in Aurora on St. John on the north side, and it's actually a wonderful product. But the thing is that if you look at the way that it was designed and to be implemented into the community, it wasn't part of, it wasn't a piece of a puzzle that was slid in. It was part of a wider planned community. And I am going to say with access and walkability directly to the park, and the response will be, yes, there's a park right down there, but it was different because it was integrated in against with the trail system. It was all part of a larger piece. And I think what my concern is that traffic patterns are going to change, because when traffic studies are being undertaken, they're not fully contemplating all the rest of the developments to the east on the north and on the south and then to the west. And so we can say that there won't be an impact, but the thing is that if you look at everything together, I feel that there very much will be an impact. Other items were said. I won't repeat them, but I wanted to get those comments on the record. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Johns. Councillor Crone?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate the people that showed up tonight and shared your opinions with us. It's appreciated. I would have expected more, folks, given the nature of this proposal. I'm sure it's not reflective of their feelings. It's probably more reflective of the time of the year. If I put through you, Madam Chair, if I put myself in the shoes of the applicant, I get the intent. There's incentives around, HST rebates for, affordable, attainable homes. And so I get that, where they're coming from. I just, with all due respect, I have, I'll say a bad taste in my mouth with this type of housing, with what we've seen at Sand Road and Holland Hope, which many of us voted against. So I'm really not keen on this type of a product to begin with, but I understand it has its place. But to the points that were made here, this is probably not the best place for it. I feel when residents bought their homes, they bought it under good faith that the planning and the zoning that was allowed there, they knew what they could expect when it's open fields, and they knowing full well that it will be developed at some point, but they had a reasonable expectation what to expect. And if we change that, that's changing the rules of the game, changing the rules mid-game. And I'm not sure that's in everyone's best interest. So I'm not, I'll be frank, I'm not very fussy on this. I think we have to think long and hard about this, Madam Chair. And I know this is early days and no decisions are being made here, but I think we have to think long and hard about this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Foster?
Thanks, Madam Chair. So just to kind of build on what Councillor Crone just said, I think most of the issues or decisions that we have to make up here are changing the game, kind of in the middle of the game kind of thing. So, while it's the developer's right to ask for changes like this, it is a little unfair when someone buys a property, takes the time to check out and have a look and see what's going to go on around them. And then now the game is going to be changed a little bit. So this is going to be a tough decision to be made when it comes back, for sure. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. I want to just start by the one positive I noted was the high-quality architecture material. So I thank them for that. I'm wondering about, when I look at this and I see how dense it is, I know other developments with these little tiny laneways in there, with the tiny driveway and single-car garage, we end up with problems with snow storage. Our beautiful blue bins, the parking, Amazon deliveries, Uber Eats deliveries. It's too much for everything that needs to go on in front of our homes. When we talk about affordability, that's important. It's important to keep houses affordable, and the main way to do that is to make them smaller, cram more on a lot. Same with protecting the environment. Nobody wants to pave over farmland, so something like this shows that they're dense and we're using less land. But that has to be balanced with the problems that will happen for every year those homes are there, for the rest of their existence, where people don't have enough parking, snow storage, et cetera. And Councillor Crone's already talked about expectations when you buy a home. I agree with that. I won't reiterate that. I just think going from 8 singles to 35 townhouses, it doesn't fit in this particular location. There is that type of product in other locations for people who want that. So I think I will leave my comments there. I don't read anything into the number of people we have. I'm surprised anyone could come out on this last week, anyone with kids in school. This is the busiest week of the year, so I know it's hard to come out. And I just want to reiterate what our general manager said, that this is not up for decision with this term of council. This will be something that will happen in the next term of council, but I think we've got some of our concerns on the record so that they will have to be responded to. Is there anyone else who wants to add anything? Seeing none. Ms. Voonvakis, did you have anything else to add to this one?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I would just hope that the applicant will work with us. As I said, it's early days. We have some concerns that are not articulated in the report with respect to fit transition, and those will be matters that we will discuss with the applicant, including the number of units, and hopefully we'll see something that will be more palatable to the community, and we'll work with the applicant, and we'll bring something forward in the new year.
Thank you. And that's the expectation, is to work with the applicant to get something that is more palatable for everyone. Okay, so we have a resolution before us to receive the memorandum, to receive the presentation from the applicant, and receive the comments from the members of the community. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Johns, Councillor Foster. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. We now have a second proposed zoning bylaw amendment, 1 to 9 Kiteley Crescent, and I believe it's the same same applicant. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ms. Voonvakis, to start us off on this.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Sasso will have a presentation, so I'll just very quickly highlight. In this instance, the applicant is seeking rezoning of 5 vacant lots within a registered plan of subdivision, and seeking that they be rezoned to permit 16 common element condominium townhouse units. Again, we are in early days. We have received some comments from the public on this one, in transparent. They're not supportive comments. And we will also work with the applicant over the next number of months to try to resolve any internal concerns and internal comments and community concerns. So without saying much more, I'll turn it over to Mr. Sasso.
Thank you very much, and good evening again, Madam Chair. And members of council. Again, my name is Jonathan Sasso. I'm a senior planner at Humphreys Planning Group, acting on behalf of Sharonvit Estates Inc., or Mosaic Homes, the owners of the lands legally described as blocks or lots 24 to 28, part of registered plan 65M 4576, or municipally known as 1 to 9 Kiteley Crescent in the town of East Gwillimbury. An application has been filed for a zoning bylaw amendment to permit a revision to phase 2 of an existing improved draft plan of subdivision, which was registered on August 7th, 2017. The revised proposal seeks to permit for the development of 16 townhouses accessed by a private laneway. Next slide, please. Subject lands are located at the southwest corner of Kiteley Crescent and Murrell Boulevard in the community of Sharon. The lands are comprised of 5 vacant lots associated with registered plan of subdivision 65M 4576. They're formally identified as lots 21 to 25 in that plan of subdivision, and comprises of a total lot area of approximately 0.29 or 0.72 acres, with frontage of approximately 51.58 meters along Kiteley Crescent, as well as 41.3 meters on Murrell Boulevard. Next slide, please. Again, this is just an extract from the approved plan of subdivision 65M 4576, identifying lots which were previously identified as lots 21 to 25, highlighted in red or outlined in red, and those form the lots that are subject to this application. Next slide, please. In terms of surrounding context, very similar to the previous application that I presented upon. Kiteley Crescent is immediately north of the subject lands. On the north side of Kiteley Crescent is residential development comprised of single detached dwellings, as well as street townhomes and 29 rear townhomes constructed as part of Phase 3 of the Sharonvit Estates Inc. subdivision. This area is not completely homogeneous. With single detached dwellings. It has also been developed with townhomes, including rear lane and street townhomes. Immediately south of the property are lands outside of the Sharon secondary plan, and they're currently undeveloped open space lands, and some exhibit natural features. East of the subject lands is obviously Murrow Boulevard, and on the east side of Murrow is residential subdivision comprised of single detached dwellings developed as part of Phase 1 of the Sharonvit Estate subdivision. Further east is Manor Hampton Park, which is publicly accessible and provides a number of amenities, including a bike park, a fitness station, playground, shelter, and walking trails. And west of the subject lands are vacant residential lots in a future development block associated with Phase 2 of the draft plan of subdivision established through Registered Plan 65M4576. Next slide, please. The development proposal seeks to permit the revision to Phase 2 of an existing approved draft plan of subdivision in order to allow for the development of 16 townhome dwelling units accessed by a private lane. The development proposes to consolidate 5 single detached lots and construct 16 common element condominium townhome units organized into 3 development blocks. The townhouse blocks have been designed with a height of 3 stories or 12.5 meters and accommodate 4 to 7 units per building block. The breakdown is as follows. Block 1 contains 5 front lane townhome units. Block 2 contains 4 front lane townhome units. And Block 3 contains 7 rear lane townhome units. Access to this site is achieved via a 10.64 full move driveway, access onto Kiteley Crescent. Again, the location of the driveway has been cited at the midpoint of the site in order to address spacing, sightline, and access guidelines. And next slide, please. Again, these are just some very preliminary conceptual building elevations which show the high quality architecture and aesthetic that is being proposed through the application. Various fenestration, high quality materiality, varied materiality, which really does accentuate the high quality architecture of the buildings, which again is consistent with what has been developed in this area and is completely compatible in terms of urban design. Next slide, please. Similar to the previous application, the site is designated in a community area, and it's also designated as low-density residential. Again, the low-density residential areas are not just single detached dwellings. They also consist of townhouses at densities ranging from 20 to 30 units per hectare. Next slide, please. Subject lands are zoned residential 2, R2 subzone 3, which does not permit for townhouse dwellings. The zoning was implemented at the time of draft plan of subdivision approval, which did contemplate only single detached dwellings. As such, a zoning bylaw amendment has been submitted to rezone the lands to a site-specific R4 zone to permit for the townhomes and rear lane townhouse dwelling forms. The amendment also introduces some site-specific exceptions to various development standards. Next slide, please. The exceptions are highlighted, are bolded on the chart in front of you. We are asking for minor relief from minimum lot frontage standards, as well as minor relief from the minimum rear yard. As you can see, we are proposing 6.06 meters, whereas 7 meters is required for the rear yard. And in terms of lot frontage, we are proposing 5.79 and 4.71, whereas 6 and 7 meters respectively are required through the current zoning bylaw. We are maintaining the maximum height standard in this category. Next slide, please. Similar to the previous application, we are at a similar point. We did make that first initial submission in March of 2026. We did receive notice of complete from planning and development staff in May 25th of 2026. The applications are currently under review by the various departments and external agencies, and we are expecting comments shortly. Today, we are at the statutory public meeting. Next steps include resolving outstanding issues and technical comments received by the various departments and commenting agencies, followed by a recommendation to council, a decision from council, a final decision, and future applications in order to fully implement the redevelopment proposal. Next slide, please. Now that does conclude my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions and obviously open to hearing council's feedback as well as feedback from the public to take back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sassos. Madam Clerk, do we have any registered speakers?
Through you, Madam Chair, we have no one identified for tonight. However, we may want to check with the audience.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wants to speak? The speakers who have already spoken, if they want to reiterate their comments on this development, I know they're very close together. You're welcome to step forward. You're already registered. I'm not seeing any. Think about that. Thank you. Mr. Blythe, come on forward. State your name and address, and then have your comments. And when you're done, you can go to the back and register.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll just comment, seeing there's nobody here to defend this. I think one of the biggest problems I have with this, it's not someone buying a piece of property and coming in with a development that people don't like. This is a situation where developers came in, sold everybody on an idea of how a development was going to happen and where it was going to go from years. When I bought a new house in Barrie years ago, there was vacant land, and we came in and we knew that there was going to be a plaza eventually. We knew there was going to be a school. They told us exactly what was going to happen in the next 15 years. This is, to me, taking away the trust of the people that we sold the subdivision to. They came in, you gave them a promise, and now years later you want to come in and, build something that's way beyond what's surrounding. And I drive through there all the time, and by the way, it's, I'm not being too sarcastic, but you said Merle Drive, it's Morel. Morel is a very prominent family in our community, so it's Morel, not Merle, sir. And just on a side note, I go through that subdivision all the time, and specifically this property. And the property's a mess. The houses across the way, you've got multi-million-dollar homes, and right across where this development is, it's like a dumping zone. Just kind of a side note, it'd be nice if they'd go over and clean that up a little bit. There's garbage and all kinds of construction debris. I'm not sure how that's allowed to go over these years. But anyway, just speaking on behalf of the residents there, it's very disappointing that people were promised a certain subdivision when they moved in. They spent millions on their homes, and now they're going to come in and have to look across the street and see dozens and dozens of cars and people. I don't agree with that. That's all I'll say. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Blythe, if you can just register at the back. Thank you. Mr. Pettijan, come on up, state your name and address.
John Pettijan. I'm at McCowan Road in the little hamlet of Holt, as Mr. John is well aware of. What I see here, and I've heard this not once, not twice, not three, not dozens of times, the same thing over and over and over again. The town has bylaws. The town has all sorts of requirements. But something was posted up there, accepted. Your application was accepted. Did they meet those bylaws, those codes? But the town accepted them.
Mr. Pettijan, we can have a response. Would you like a response to that?
Well, no, I'm just making a point. Why wasn't the town notifying the developer? And it's not just this developer. It's everyone. And whether we're talking about Second Concession, whether we talk 31 Sand, Far Avenue, Thompson, like I can go on and on. There's a bunch of them. It's the same thing. Why haven't council, staff, notify these developers saying, you've pushed the envelope way too far? Like, I look at that, 16 townhouses on 3/4 of a lot, 35 townhouses on just over, not even, well, an acre. Think about it. Why would council allow staff to move this forward? Because staff works on behalf of council. It's the people who put council there to ensure that staff, and they do a great job. But it's the people trust council, not staff. They don't know who staff is. They come here to say a point, and the point is we have standards. Just like, as Mr. Blythe said, people are sold on an idea. People are sold on an image, and that image changes. 40 years ago, I bought my first house in Aurora, and they were going to do exactly the same thing as what I've seen here time and time again. I was one of those people who, along with someone else, got together and we filled a community center of several hundred people. And the engineers, the developers, they all made their point. And they all pushed the envelope. But the difference was council didn't buckle down. They didn't give in. They made it very clear, I'm sorry, you didn't abide by the town's rules, their bylaws. And that was it, and no change was done. I think rather than getting that $1 million that you hit in 2024, maybe you should take that money and give it to the people who live there, because you're definitely going to ruin their property value. That's what's happening, and they're going to get no compensation whatsoever. Think it through. How would you like it? I feel sorry for these people. And I get the point. You're going to go up there, well, we don't approve of this. And you're going to vote no to it. And then where are they going to go? To the tribunal. But this is where council, this is where the residents of East Gwillimbury want council to stand up for them. If that means going to Toronto, going to Queen's Park, and making a statement for other communities, maybe Bill C-23 and a couple others bills, maybe they need to be changed. Because right now, that's not working. And I think a lot of people are not trusting council anymore, and it's because of things like this. People will trust council when they stand up and they see that council is fighting for them. But what I see here, every time a new development comes, are we caving in? Are we giving in? It sure seems like that. So please, help, let's start making a stand. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pettigen. You asked some questions about the Planning Act, about why we are required under the Planning Act to accept applications, and I'm going to ask Ms. Vumbakis just to take us through our legal obligations that we are under when you're on council. I would love to stand up and just say no and have it go away, but there is legally binding legislation that we must follow. So Ms. Vumbakis, can you talk about the accepting of applications?
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, council is doing its job this very evening. Under the Planning Act, we are required to accept an application if it meets the requirements as set out in the Planning Act, along with regulations, along with our own town policies as to what constitutes a complete application. This application is complete. As a result, we have a legislative responsibility. There's no maybe, should, could. We must present the application to council. We must conduct a statutory public meeting. Part of the process is that staff and other agencies and departments review the application. Part of that process is getting input from the public, and then we come back with a recommendation. That recommendation may be to approve the application. Council then has the decision to make whether or not they support the staff recommendation. Staff could come back with a recommendation to refuse it. Council could also not agree with staff on that recommendation and could say, approve it. We could come back with a modified application. That is another alternative. All the steps that are being undertaken this evening, and with all the other applications, council must follow. There is no question. Council, I appreciate your comment that you would like to see things frozen, but the Planning Act and the provincial legislation do not allow for that. So everyone is entitled to the right to make an application, to pay the required fee that is associated with it, and have it reviewed.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments, and I do believe you're absolutely correct. It falls under the Municipal Act. I understand that. But here's my point. Do we need 16 townhouses on less than 3/4 of an acre? Council could say, well, we don't need townhouses. Why don't we just put semis so they blend in? That is also part of it. There's a lot of differences that we can argue the point back and forth. But at the end of the day, we, the residents, we, the taxpayers, what we see is what the results that council is doing. They're not stepping up for the residents.
Okay,
They're not saying that. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to stop you right there because council has stepped up for the residents. We have voted no on planning applications. As it was stated at the beginning of this presentation, this is not for decision tonight. I'm going to ask Ms. Vounvakis to let the speaker know what would happen if council put a motion forward tonight and said no. What would happen? And then we're going to end the deputation. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for the question. If council was to determine this evening to say no to the application, I would suspect that the applicant would take it directly to the OLT. And at this point in time, we do not have complete information. We haven't conducted discussions with the applicant to any great extent, nor has council had the opportunity to see if the applicant will come back with a revised proposal that may be more palatable both to the residents and to council. So those are the steps that could potentially happen. And, I would just say that I think the best opportunity that we collectively have is to work with applicants to try to get a proposal that is supportable, that the community supports, that fits in with the community, and that council can support. Ultimately, if we don't get there, there is the alternative route. But the alternative route is adversarial. And what we want to try to achieve is something where we can collectively be able to support development that is going to enhance the town.
If I can just say one thing before, I'm not saying no to development. That's not what I'm saying, all right? We need development. I get it. Progress is inevitable. What I am saying is, let's look at what's there. I've driven through Manor, Hampton, and it's a beautiful subdivision. And all of a sudden, you're going to put that many townhouses in there. Then on the corner, as Mr. John says, one of the other fellows, people said that you're going to put apartment buildings in. Have a good look at that. People move from Toronto, Markham, Vaughan here for a reason.
Thank you, Mr. Pettijohn.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope something sinks in. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you've heard from comments from council in the last development. I'm sure we'll have many comments on this one as well, that there is many aspects of both these are similar that council has strong comments on. And so I think we are standing up for residents, and this is the process, how it unfolds, how it is intended to unfold. And I will throw it open now to my colleagues to have their comments on this. Is there anything left unsaid, or would we like just to agree with a lot of the comments we've already heard? Seeing nothing, I will add the same comments I had on the last one, that I worry about the laneway situation, not having enough of a driveway for parking, not having enough space for garbage, no storage. I'm not really in favor of the laneway idea in general. We've seen it, how it's working out right now, and I think there's issues with that we need to seriously consider. So I would hope that staff will take into consideration what they've heard tonight on both these applications and work with the developer to try and come up with a compromise that will work. To me, this just doesn't work for us. So if there's no other comments, then we have a motion before us. Be it resolved that the Development Services Memorandum dated June 23rd entitled Proposed Zoning Bylaw Amendment 1 to 9 Kiteley Crescent in Sharon, public meeting be received, and that the presentation from the applicant be received and the comments from the public be received. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Crone, Mayor Haxon, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. And I will pass the chair back to you, Madam Mayor.
We are at item K, correspondence for consideration. There are 6 items, K1 through 6, of correspondence added to the agenda. If there are no specific questions, with the approval of council, I suggest we receive these together.
I agree.
Okay, so we will go down to... At this point, I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Crone. Councillor John's happy to. Thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. I'm now at item L, resolutions, and there are none at this time. I will move along with item M, reports. Number 1, Legal and Legislative Services Memo appointment of 2026 and 2030 Joint Compliance Audit Committee, and this is in relation to item N3. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Crothers. Thank you. Councillor Crone. Be it resolved that the Legal and Legislative Services Memorandum dated June 23rd, 2026, entitled Appointment of 2026-2030 Joint Compliance Audit Committee be received. I have a mover and seconder. I do have it. All those in favor? And that's carried. I'm now at bylaws. With the approval of council, I recommend we approve together the bylaws listed as items 1 to 3 on our agenda.
Through you, Madam Mayor, there is one additional bylaw that was added this afternoon. It's in relation to a zoning bylaw that's listed on the screen before you. So it will be a total of 4 bylaws for council's consideration.
Thank you. I have 4 to deal with, so we'll take some time here. Bylaws, number 1, bylaw 2026-067 being a bylaw to delegate authority to execute tax arrears extensions agreements. Item 2 is bylaw 2026-068 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2018-043 as amended. Excuse me, being a zoning of bylaw Valley Brook purchase phase 2, part of lot 108, concession 1, town of East Gwillimbury, regional municipality of York, being all of PINS 03421-0971 and 03421 and 0972. I'm at number 3, bylaw 2002-6069, being a bylaw to appoint a joint compliance audit committee in relation to item M1. Number 4, bylaw 2026-071, being a bylaw to amend a bylaw number 2018-043 as amended, being a zoning bylaw part of Lot 20, Concession 3, 18899 Leslie Street, Sharon. Be it resolved that the bylaws 2026-067, 2026-068, 2026, sorry, 069 and 206-263. I'll start again on that one. 2026-071 be taken as read and acted and signed by the mayor and municipal clerk.
Councillor John's happy to move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. All those in favor? And that's carried. We are down to other business. There is none at this time. Item P, confirming bylaw, moved by Councillor Crone, Councillor Johns. Seconded, be it resolved that bylaw 2026-070, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on June 23rd, 2026, be taken as read, enacted, and signed by the mayor and municipal clerk. All those in favor? And that is carried. I'm now at item Q, excuse me, item Q, adjournment, moved by Councillor Foster, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Crothers. Be it resolved that the meeting of council adjourn at 8:06 p.m. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much.